Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are going to be tying the Cajun cricket crappie jig. This is a crappie jig pattern video. So let's get started. In the vise we have a ball head jig with the collar nipped off. The jig is a chartreuse with a black splatter head. Because there's no collar on here, I like to lay down a pattern, a layer of some super glue, a little bit of super glue here so that the thread sticks. So that will be the first step. And we're going to lay down our base. This is yellow. You can use yellow chartreuse, which would be ideal. I just don't happen to have any of that color at this point, so yellow will work just fine. I want it to blend into the pattern of the jig. All right, so I'm just laying down a thread base now. It's a pretty simple pattern, a little bit different than some of the other patterns I've tied. And I'm interested to hear from the viewers when you use this jig, what kind of fish you catch on it. Obviously, you're going to catch crappie on this, but I'm interested in what other kind of species you catch on this jig. So, don't feel free to post in the comments section. Okay. Anyway, so we're starting with yellow saddle hackle. I've got two tips here. You can see that there's two, and I have layered them one on top of the other. I'm going to put them concave side down, although I don't think it really matters which way you do. I like to put them down though. And I like them a little longer than the length of the shank of the hook. So I'm just going to put that here. I've tied down to the point of the hook. I'm going to tie that in there. Doesn't have to be perfect, as I've said many times. Crappie don't really care. I just like to make sure that it has some action, and I don't like to inhibit the action. So I try not to over tie. Up here is fine, but when I get down by the tips of the feather, I'm careful with it. All right, so I'm going to tie down to the point of the hook there. It's good if it splays out too. It looks more like a tail when you do that. And be careful not to break your thread. Okay, so next step, I have what we call in the crappie jig tying world, the V's, right? In this case, I'm just doing two V's. I just want to use this to bulk up the base here. Push a little bit more water. I'm going to pinch here. Give two wraps, and then I might, actually that was not good. It's down too far. All right, I need these a little bit lower here. There we go. So we're going to tie those in. This is yellow saddle hackle V's from the same saddle hackle that I used for the tips. And that looks good. Okay, next step, and second to last step. Olive and black krystalflash. So I'm going to put those together like so, and we're going to tie those in together. So I'm going to tie put two wraps of thread around them, and then I like to adjust them here so they're straight. I'll fold them over. And you can keep these any length you like. I can trim them to length later, and I'm going to snip there. So we have a total of 4 strands of flash material. It looks good to me. Just make sure it's tied in well. And for the last step, I have orange pearl tinsel chenille. So I'm just going to strip a little bit of the chenille off. I can do that with this type of chenille without worrying about it unraveling. It'll be fine. And I'm going to tie that in. And tie it on up to the head. Park our thread and wrap. Our chenille. I like to keep these relatively tight. I don't like a real long body. I like it more of a, you know, grub-like body. And then when I get towards the head of the jig, I like to double it up a little bit so that it bulks up and is a tapered body like so. I'm going to give a wrap here, and a wrap here. Now this particular thread is kind of light, so I'm careful not to pull too tight, otherwise I'll snap it. I like to use 140 denier. And then we will whip finish. Actually, before I whip finish, I like to give a few more wraps here. Make a little bit of a collar there. And that is your Cajun cricket. So give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you catch on it. And I think it's a good pattern. Thanks for watching.